What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Plant Fanatics. Today we're going to be talking about fertilizing your potted plants, so stay tuned. So whether we're talking about a fruiting tree or a fruiting plant or just an ornamental plant, if it's in a pot, it becomes the gardener's responsibility to keep up with feeding because there's limited resources available to that plant. Once it utilizes everything that's in that pot, it has nowhere else to go for nutrients. Plants that are in the ground have a constant source of nutrients. So potted plants are not the same. So without further ado, let's get into it. So my story on how I fertilize is actually that I used to go to nurseries all the time and I realized their plants look so much better than mine. The leaves were greener, the fruit looked better. A lot of times my plant would actually drop its fruit. There'd be chlorosis in the leaves, which is actually a yellowing of the leaves. And so I just started talking to the nurserymen and I found out they actually give a diluted liquid feed every time they water the plants. And so that's the method that I actually adopted. So I'm not going to tell you guys to go out and use a granular feed when that's not what I'm going to do. I've had terrible success when it comes to granular feeds. But usually if you follow the instructions on things, you should have good success. I am just a proponent of liquid feed for potted plants at this point. So let me go ahead and show you what I use. So I actually started out with this Miracle-Gro water-soluble all-purpose plant food. This works really well. I've had great success with it. But here recently at Walmart, I found this Expert Gardener, which I'm assuming is like Walmart's brand, like Miracle-Gro. And after looking at the nutrient profile, I realized they're literally the exact same thing. This is just way cheaper. So of course I ended up going with this. I've been using it now, having great success. So when you open your liquid feed container, you'll be surprised to actually find granules like this. It looks like sand. And it's going to come with this little spoon like this, a little measuring spoon. And the Expert Gardener one actually comes with these little measuring marks in here. You have 1 teaspoon, 1 tablespoon. If you get the Miracle-Gro one, it's actually pretty cool. It has a little scoop on the other side, so you don't have to kind of eyeball where it's going to be. These are actually useless, in my opinion, for the constant feeding. So I just got a little cheap set of these metal measuring spoons because the directions actually say on the back to use a 1/4 teaspoon of this mix per gallon of water. Well, I actually diluted it back even more than that just to make sure that I'm not over-fertilizing my plants. Especially once it starts getting hot, we're watering our plants pretty much every day, and when it gets really, really hot, sometimes twice a day. So I use a 1/4 teaspoon of this fertilizer per 2 gallons of water, which is a typical watering can. So that's all I do. I put the 1/4 teaspoon in there, mix it up, and then every single time that I water my plants, that's how I fertilize my plants, and I've had great success with it. I used to have really, my plants looked okay, but they didn't look great. There'd be a lot of chlorosis in the leaves. Growth would kind of stall, and I really couldn't understand why, and it's because I wasn't fertilizing my plants. It's very important for you to get on a fertilizing schedule with all of your potted plants. Now, when plants are in the ground, it's not as crucial for you to fertilize those plants, though I do recommend composting. I have another video on that I'll put in the description below. But this is the best way that I know how to do it. I can go ahead and show you over here all of my citrus trees, which I am using liquid feed for. Now in this greenhouse, I have an orange tree over here that is actually in the ground, and I do fertilize that with a liquid feed, and I've had great success. You can see all the flowers that are all over this thing, and it smells great right now, like creamsicles or something. Now, if you're a person that hasn't been keeping up with fertilizing your trees in the past, you have to understand that things aren't going to happen instantly. It's going to take a little bit of time for those roots to really take up that nutrient and for it to show in your plant leaves. So you can see in some of these leaves, like right here on my calamondin, that there's a little bit of chlorosis going on in here. It's missing some nutrients. So that's something that's going to be fixed slowly over time. So you can't feed your plant 2-3 times and expect that it's going to change everything. Like all things in the plant world, it takes time, it takes patience, but that is a sure way to know that you're taking care of your plants properly. If you're a person that does not feed your plants, at some point, right now it might look good, but if you're not constantly up potting your plant, those roots are really getting root bound, there's no nutrients in the soil, your plant's health is going to start declining. It's going to be very important for you to pick up a feeding schedule like this. So like I said, I do a constant liquid feed, a very diluted form of liquid feed. Now, there's also directions on those liquid feeds to where you could do it every 2 weeks. I don't like doing it that way. I've seen some plants not respond as well to a heavier feed, so the diluted feed just seems to be the way to go. I use it on my seedlings. It's very important to fertilize your seedlings. As they start getting bigger, stronger, they need more feed. So this constant feed is just making sure that it's there, but it's making sure you're not over-fertilizing. So, if you guys have any questions for me, leave them in the comments below. Leave this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and share with any of your friends who need help fertilizing their potted plants. Thanks so much for watching.